Hello. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time. I wanted to do a little pep talk tonight. I wanted to talk to you a little bit. It is Sunday night, and we are getting ready for another week, going into Monday, and I thought I would do a little pep talk tonight about self-doubt. Self-doubt. And what I want to do tonight is talk a little bit about self-doubt and how you and I are going to destroy the self-doubt that we carry with us. So I thought I could maybe give you a couple tips that might be helpful if you are struggling with self-doubt. So I think the first thing I want you to do is think about all of your accomplishments. I think it is so easy to get in our own way, to get in our head, to overthink things. And I think it can be really helpful to think of all your accomplishments. One thing I like to recommend that people do is anytime someone sends you a nice note, so in the context of work stuff, right? If people ever send you a nice note or a compliment or thank you for a job well done, create an email folder. I think this is a really nice way to have a lot of like positive reminders of your accomplishments all in one place. So if you are working on a resume or an application or something, it's a nice way to revisit a lot of things you've accomplished. Or it's also just a great ego boost, a great like pump you up moment whenever you need it on demand. So that's the first thing. We're gonna think about all of our accomplishments. And I think another thing that can help with self-doubt is setting achievable goals. When you're setting goals, try to make sure that you're thinking about and picking things that feel obtainable. You know, it's kind of the idea of like, you know, people don't set out to climb Mount Everest quickly. You know, it's a long process of training and growing your skills and developing all of the ways you need to: mental fortitude, emotional fortitude, physical strength, all of the steps you need to do to get to a place where you're able to accomplish such a huge goal. Lots of many tiny steps filled with doubt along the way that you gotta destroy. So one of the best ways to combat self-doubt, set obtainable goals that you can kind of work towards. I think it can also be helpful to remember that other people have doubt as well. You know, imposter syndrome exists for a real reason. If you're not familiar with imposter syndrome, it is when it's exactly what it sounds like. You feel like an imposter because you don't feel like you're good enough or you're qualified enough or you have the skill sets you need to do something. And a lot of people face that. In fact, I think there were studies that if you experience imposter syndrome, it's actually less likely that you are an imposter. I can't remember the converse of that, the opposite of that. I think it's the Dunner-Kruger effect, or something like that. Dunner-Kruger, I don't know, something like that, but that's like the opposite, where it's like an overabundance of self-confidence when it's like inaccurate is more like, so basically this is very inarticulate, but if you are experiencing imposter syndrome, you likely have like a lot more skill than you realize, and the opposite is true. It's like when people are overly confident, sometimes that's unwarranted. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, it's helpful to remember that a lot of other people experience self-doubt as well. And it's very normal. It's very common. I also think it can be helpful to reframe your brain, reframe your concept, your perception of failing. A lot of times you have doubt because you're afraid of failing. If you're a perfectionist, if you're a high performer, that's probably even more so. It's probably even greater fear, this fear of failing. And I think you should get less scared of failing. I think it's, there's this idea that like failing isn't, what is failing? Failing has such a negative connotation, but maybe failing is actually just learning. Failing is just learning, It's like, I saw this sign the other day, but I was like, that's so true. It was like, you're only failing if you stop trying. It's kind of that idea of like all of the greatest successes tried 100 times before you even heard of them, I will share. I started this ASMR journey, I think in October. I think the end of October. I think end of October, early November last year. And I really just was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna have fun with this. And I had a lot of anxiety around, am I doing this right? Like, are people gonna like this? Is this, like, I don't have any crazy fancy like camera or lighting or like super established, I don't know what I'm like, how to do all the pretty cool settings and things like that. But I was like, you know what? I think it's fun. I enjoy doing it. I think there is a space out there for anyone who is interested in exploring and trying something new, and it's like, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? And then a couple months ago, I said to myself, I'm gonna, I had some life things going on, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this a little more seriously now, because I don't want to doubt myself anymore. I believe in myself. I think I can do this. I am having a lot of fun. I want to experiment and try different things, see what works, see what doesn't, and just keep having fun with it. And then it's like, nothing is a failure. So it's like, if a video doesn't do well, it's not a failure, it's a learning. I'm learning that that's just not something that makes sense or something that people want right now. And take it a step further, even that. Is that a failing? If most people don't want that, but maybe there's 2 or 3 people that really enjoyed that and it really resonated with them and it really helped them. I don't think that's a failure. because it helped those 2 or 3 people, you know? So reframe your brain, reframe your relationship with failure. And another thing I wanted to share was, there's a quote I love. I think it's from the podcast Armchair Expert. It was, don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to a past version of yourself. You. I love that so much. Every single person is on a different journey. Every single person is on a different path. Everyone has different experiences, and you never know. You never know what is right around the corner for you, and you know, everyone is exactly where they need to be. Everyone is learning and growing and figuring things out, and I love that idea of focusing on your own growth, your own journey, and don't worry about anyone else, you know? Because you're not supposed to arrive at things at the same time, and that's okay. I think that's one of the greatest, that's one of those moments where I think my brain shifted a little bit, so I wanted to share that with you. Again, just using my YouTube as an example, I think it could be really easy to be discouraged. There's such a huge world of incredibly talented ASMR artists out there, and I'm just trying things out, you know, seeing what sticks. I'm gonna see how small we can get that one card. And you know, there's so many people, and I could be easily discouraged, right? But I don't ever want to think about it like that. I think we're all on our own journey, and what I love to do is I love to really monitor my own growth, so that I can go back and see, I was so pumped, I was so excited when I hit 100 subs, and I just today hit 200 subs, and I was so excited. And you know, that's not a big deal to a lot of people, but that was really exciting for me, and I think that's so cool. You know, I feel like that's such an honor. 200 people saw this and thought to themselves, that was soothing or interesting or appealing, that helped me, that was good enough, that warranted a subscription, and that's so cool. So for me, because I'm comparing myself to a previous version of myself, not to all of the thousands of people out there, that's a way for me to stay healthy and continue in my growth trajectory. And so I love that quote. And another, we're getting smaller. Another thing I wanted to share is something I saw on TikTok, actually. It was so good. It was okay, if you knew that you had to, I think it was get 100 no's in a row, but I'm gonna repurpose it a little bit for the subject at hand. If you knew that you had to be told no, that you had to fail 100 times in a row before you had a great, incredible success, how would you feel? You would probably not be so scared of the failures, right? You would race through the failures because you would know that after 100 failures, you would have this incredible success. And that is something to strive for, something to work towards, something to grow towards, right? Now, that's because you know there's a set time and and you understand that after a certain amount of time you will have that success. And I think that that's such a cool way to think about it. Like, I totally butchered the TikTok I saw, but that was roughly the idea, you know. It's like, if you knew, you would just keep going, and you would keep going happily because you knew that success was right around the corner. And I think if we adopt that sort of mentality of knowing that the success is right around the corner, from, it could be any minute now, it could be right after your next no, it could be your next failure, which again is really just you learning and improving and iterating. You are getting closer to your next success. And I could make these even smaller, but in the same way that if you were to pick up these pieces now, could you tell me what that word was? Would you be able to tell me what word was on this paper? I don't think you can tell anymore. And that's what I hope that practicing some of these things can do for you. I think I'll jot down some of these ideas, maybe in the like caption area, so you can have like a cheat sheet. But my thought is that hopefully some of those things resonated, and if you pick just one, just one to think about and focus on, I hope that you can start to really eradicate any self-doubt you have. I think it's a great place to start. I think it's a great way to slowly tear down any self-doubt that you carry with you. And you and I are gonna work on that together. No more self-doubt. You can do it. We just gotta stay true, set those goals, be kind to yourself. You deserve that. Sorry. Okay. Be good to yourself. Be good to everyone around you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you.